Hello and welcome to Plant-Based Glow. My name is Jennifer Helene and I am here to share with you tips and tricks on how to glow from the inside out, how to stay young, healthy, and fit in this ever-changing world, and how to demystify a plant-based diet once and for all. I have traveled the world studying food as medicine. I have got a master's degree in nutrition and I am totally obsessed with food and how to make healthy food taste amazing. So this has been my quest for over 20 years now, and I'm finally able to share it with you. So today, I would love to share with you something that's been decorating my table for the last few months, and I've tested it on elderly people, I've tested it on kids, I've tested it on health nuts, I've tested it on junk food lovers, I've tested this recipe on neighbors and strangers. I've taken this recipe to parties, so it is tried and true, I can tell you. So we've got a few really interesting ingredients that I want to introduce to you today. Some of you may be very familiar with these ingredients. For some of you, they may be new. So oftentimes I hear from my friends who are really committed to their paleo approach or to their meat. They're really committed to their protein, to their exercise routine, and I used to be there. I totally get it, but I have to say that if you're looking for a great plant-based solution, one thing I've found really satisfies not only the mouthfeel, but also a more fundamental physical satisfaction are mushrooms. Recent research shows how incredibly powerfully nutritious these foods are. Now I've chosen trumpet mushrooms because I find these to be the meatiest of all. They just look so fabulously fresh at the market, so I had to buy them. And so these gorgeous trumpet mushrooms, I'm going to go ahead and chop up and put on top of a really beautiful dark green salad. So I'll talk a little bit more about those ingredients as the mushrooms are sauteing. So really simple. These mushrooms take like less than 10 minutes to cook. You just got to make sure you get them from a grocery store, that they're fresh. You want to be sure when you're looking for fresh mushrooms that the skin is nice and firm. You don't want it to be kind of the color, you don't want the color to be faded. You don't want it to be spongy or soft. It needs to be firm to the touch. Now, some of you actually may have experience with this, and it's a question that I've had for a long time. How is an organic mushroom organic? That I don't understand yet. Clearly, we always know that when we're buying organic produce, we're sure that it's not genetically modified. That is a super important topic. But one other thing is, how does a mushroom become organic? I mean, mushrooms are fungus or fungi, and they grow on, usually wood. Some grow on rice. There's a number of different, different surfaces that you can grow this fungi on. But I'm curious. So if any of you have information about what makes an organic mushroom organic, I'd love to hear about it. Because, even though I know a lot about food and nutrition, I'm still learning. So, for some of you probably don't want to use oil, but for some of you who are in a transitional lifestyle, oil is going to be a really easy go-to. I just don't want you using canola oil. That I would say no peanut oil, no canola oil. I'm just using some coconut oil. That's going to help me get the crystallized or the caramelized effect that I'm looking for my mushrooms. So I've got a cast iron pan here, and it's on medium. Yeah, it's on medium heat, and I've been warming it up for a little while we're getting the camera ready. So it's ready, and so you can hear that slight sizzle. That's exactly what I'm looking for. These don't really cook for long. Now, oftentimes in the past, I have just sliced these up, marinated them, and put them in the dehydrator for a raw version. But because it's wintertime, and because, we got to have some transitional foods, not everybody has a dehydrator, I'd like to show it to you this way as well. But there are lots of other ways to prepare these trumpet mushrooms. A friend of mine says to me that she thinks that trumpet mushrooms taste like scallops. I love that analogy because they kind of do. They kind of have that scallopy texture. But if you're not a seafood lover, do not despair. They're just as meaty as a steak, I'll tell you. There's a woman that I tested this recipe on a couple days ago, and she pretty much only eats steak, and she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe how much she enjoyed these mushrooms. And all it is, coconut oil and trumpet mushrooms. And we're gonna let those kind of sit and do their thing. Now I wanna talk to you a little bit about the salad. So salads are the main part of my diet. I recommend that salads become a part of your diet. Now, I'm not talking about iceberg lettuce salads. I'm talking, even romaine lettuce is an excellent choice. Iceberg isn't bad. But what I'm trying to say is that when I'm traveling or before I learned about a plant-based diet and I learned about the variety of nutrients that are required for optimal health and for being a plant-based person, I needed to know this spectrum. You have to understand the spectrum of nutrients that's required because, let's face it, when you're hungry, you're probably not very nice because your blood sugar is low, you're off balance, you might be feeling tired. So who wants to be around somebody who's grumpy? You know, I'm not nice when I'm hungry. So I have to make sure that I get what I need. Now, and I'm out in the world, that can be a challenge because oftentimes you just find sandwiches or hot dogs or, you know, fast food, Gatorade, things like that. I mean, that's not really ideal. So the number one tip for staying healthy in this modern world is plan. So when you're planning, you also have to have a little bit of knowledge though. What do I get? Because if I just eat iceberg lettuce and romaine, I'm not gonna feel satisfied. It's just not gonna work. So what I have here are a variety of greens. Now, some are easier to find than others, and that's why I provided a variety because any one of these would be adequate. This one is the easiest one to find. Organic spinach. This one you can find in boxes and bags. You can even get this at Costco. You can get this at pretty much any grocery store. It doesn't have to be a fancy organic health food store. Organic spinach has never been easier to find. I certainly can't find it at the airport, but it's pretty easy to find. And this is a great go-to for a deep green that is packed full of chlorophyll. So I highly recommend this green spinach, because you can put this in smoothies, you can put this in salads, you can saute it up in literally seconds and have an amazing side dish to your meal. These guys, I have a feeling, might need to get turned. They have a little bit of brown, not quite enough, but I'm just gonna, because they start to develop a little bit of water, they kind of sweat. And so when they start to sweat, I like to turn them over because they kind of curl up a little bit. And when they curl up, then they can't really get that nice brown that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna turn them a little early so that where they've curled up, I can flip over, and then on the other side, they'll get their nice brown. These mushrooms are actually starting to smell like butter. How is that even possible? Amazing. Another green that I love that's relatively easy to find, probably the second, maybe the third easiest to find, but is watercress. Watercress is, it's a little bit, what's the best word for that? It's a kind of unassuming green, right? It's easy to find, it tastes pretty good. You find it on fancy salads at restaurants sometimes, but boy, oh boy, is this stuff amazing. Zeaxanthin, it contains DNA repairing phytonutrients. I mean, this stuff is incredible. It can reverse aging. It has tons of vitamin C. When you're eating whole foods that are packed full of phytonutrients like zeaxanthin, lutein, and vitamin C, you're gonna get the glow. And I would say that this food has a glow factor that's very high. This food right here, this is a mescaline mix. This is almost as easy to find as the spinach. This is just a combination of baby greens. So you've got a little bit of tatsoi, you've got some baby romaine. So this is something you find usually in a bag or a box at the grocery store. It's organic. Sometimes it comes pre-washed. One word of caution though, don't let it go bad. That's the worst. When you got one or two bad leaves in there, it just can smell so funny. It throws the whole flavor of your salad off. So that's just one word of advice. Many of you probably already know that. So those are the three easiest to find greens, and either one of them or a combination of them together for the salad would be great. But these two guys are my favorites. They can be pricey, sometimes difficult to find, but I have to say these guys are magic. Here we have some broccoli microgreens and sunflower seed sprouts. Before I learned about the power of sprouts, I think I was starving as a vegan. When I found out about sprouts and started to eat sprouts on a regular basis and in adequate quantity, everything changed. Everything. From the shape of my muscles to how old I looked to my glow. everything changed. So I would highly recommend learning to grow these guys, something I'd love to teach you. But in the meantime, go to your stores, find out where you can get them, make sure they're fresh. Never buy any kind of sticky or smelly or strange looking sprouts. Well, they might be strange looking for you if you're new to sprouts, but regardless, these guys have 30 to 40% more nutrients in them than the broccoli. For example, if you're going to eat some broccoli, these little guys, these little broccoli greens, are going to have way more phytonutrients in them. These are the ones that are touted for their anti-cancer properties. They're fighting cancer proactively when you eat them. So these little guys I love to include in everything that I eat, just about. And the sunflower seed sprouts, boy oh boy, do I feel hungry when I don't get these. So I juice these, I grow these, I eat these in my salad, sometimes only these. So I definitely want to turn you on to knowing that these are an option for you. And I feel that they're worth what they cost if you're going to buy them. Sunflower seed sprouts are a 10 out of 10 with phytonutrient power. So I'm just going to check on my mushrooms before I throw my salad together. Yeah. Oh, they've got this gorgeous hue of golden, which is exactly what I was looking for. You want to use a heavy bottomed pan for this, because if you don't use a heavy bottomed pan, you might not get this gorgeous golden look that I have on these mushrooms. You know, some people say, well, I can't eat so much raw food and so many greens in the wintertime. It's just too cold, and I totally get that. But what I love is that when you mix one warm element with the greens that hopefully are at room temperature, that's what I try to do. Try to take my salad out so it's at room temperature while I'm eating it. I don't really like to eat cold food. Then you know you're a little bit ahead of the game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put some of these mesclun greens in. I'm going to do a combo. But like I said, if you only have one of these greens, you're going to be good to go. The watercress usually comes in its own dirt, so it's actually living right now. It's still growing as we speak. So I'm just going to cut a little bit off of here. Some people don't like the flavor when they first try it, so I just recommend go slow. If you're not familiar with this green, just go slowly, because you know your taste buds will warm up to it. I promise. And just give it a chance. Have some trust and faith that you want to do something great for your body. You want to get that glow. You want to feel amazing, because when you're glowing from the inside out, not only do other people notice it, but you feel so different and your whole energy changes. You become more positive, you become more successful, your glow becomes contagious, and you kind of wonder, well, what's happening, right? Because you're not looking in the mirror as much because you don't really need to. So here we've got some sunflower seed sprouts. These guys have a big place in my heart. Love the sunflower seed sprouts, and a generous serving of the broccoli sprouts. So now I've got the sprouts on top, but actually what I want to do is flip it around, because the sprouts are the most tender, and I don't really want them to touch the heat of the mushrooms. So I'm going to keep the tougher greens up top, so that they can be the ones tenderized by the mushrooms, that are just about ready. Gosh, I haven't been timing myself, but maybe I should have. Now here's an ingredient that, this one is a crowd pleaser. I'm going to teach you this in the next video. This is Brazil nut Parmesan. Now, clearly it's not Parmesan cheese, but there's a couple things in the vegan diet that we just can't seem to find great replacements for. Number one, bacon. Number two, Parmesan cheese. I mean, they are foods, but to me, they're also flavorings, that really add a lot of fun, depth, and delight into dishes. And so what I've done is I've created a couple different kinds of Parmesan cheese. This is one of them. This is the easiest, fastest, most simple one. And it's made, of course, with Brazil nuts that are rich in selenium, such a super important nutrient, because our soil, unfortunately, really is depleted in selenium. And we need selenium. We need selenium to fight cancer. We need selenium for our skin. We need selenium for aging gracefully. We need selenium for our brain health and cognitive health. So really important to have selenium. And boy, what a great way to get it than from the whole food of Brazil nuts. So what I've done, and I'll show this to you, but it's basically just Brazil nuts, garlic, and some Celtic sea salt. Simple. 3 ingredients, and you keep it in the fridge. You can keep it for I've kept it for about 3 weeks, and it's been fine, but got to keep it in the fridge. And I just put that in the food processor, and it gives me this really nice kind of almost powdery, like a ground Parmesan cheese. So these guys are done. I'm happy with this. They don't need long. I'm not even going to do anything more with them. They're just the right texture. They're a little bit, they're a little meaty. They're nice and warm, cooked, you know, warm through, but they're still a little bit raw. I haven't really cooked them to death at all. So I've got my mushrooms, and I've got my Brazil nut parm that I'm gonna put on the top here. Now this is a very satisfying salad. Oh my gosh, it smells so good because now the garlic is coming out through the heat. And so we've got like a really simple but glorious salad. Now, sometimes I even make the salad in advance and I put it in a to-go container and I hop in the car with it. So, and I have it an hour or two when it's time for lunch because, you know, if I'm out there on the road picking up my daughter or going to an appointment for my business, you know, what am I going to do? I'm not going to stop at McDonald's. There's just nothing there for me. So, well, I shouldn't say that. There's nothing that's going to make me feel extremely deeply satisfied and give me the glow factor because that's what I'm looking for. I want to glow from the inside out because I want to have optimal energy so that I can do my work on this planet in this lifetime. And here we have our Brazil nut Parmesan cheese with sauteed trumpet mushrooms on a deep green salad. Now, some of you might think, well, I need a sauce or a dressing with this. And I don't disagree with you. But believe it or not, these mushrooms are so juicy just on their own right that you might find as you mix this up with your fork that it's going to be like adequately moist. Now, some of you might really like that heavy sauce feeling on your salads, and that's totally cool. If you're into that, just put some olive oil on there, you know? If you like that, just add a little squeeze of lemon juice, you know? That's super simple. But I have to tell you, the way this wilts the greens just enough and it coats them, you might be surprised that every bite is going to be packed full of flavor. And that's what we're after. Getting a lot of greens in that are packed full of flavor, but not only flavor, phytonutrients. Because that is what the glow factor is about. You're going to get the glow factor if you're getting food in your body that has phytonutrients in it. And this is one fabulous recipe. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you share it. And I can't wait to hear your feedback. Thank you so much.